Hello and welcome everyone to another live lesson. Welcome, all you Drumeo members. I see you on chat already, which is great. Everybody else, this is a free lesson for you guys as well. We're wanting to give you guys an idea of kind of what Drumeo is like, so I welcome you guys all here. And today, we have one of our new instructors. His name is Kyle Radomsky.
Hello.
Kyle you've been drumming for quite a while, 20 plus years now or something?
Yeah, it's a long time.
And how long have you been teaching for as well?
It's got to be close to 20, probably 17 years, I'd say.
Holy cow.
Yeah, a long time.
So he's got tons of experience. I don't know if you guys were here about half hour before. We were kind of jamming around. He is a monster on the kit. He's been, you did like a half hour solo there.
I think I played more notes in the past half an hour than I've played in 3 months, probably. All condensed into one pile there, so.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. Today's lesson is on moving around the kit. And stick around because we are giving away some stuff. Last week we gave away some sticks and stuff, so we have some sticks to give away. Where is all my gear here? We also have a practice pad right here. We're going to be giving this away too, and, well, some shirts. We're both wearing some Drumeo shirts. I got 2 shirts to give away. Also, at the end of the lesson, I'm going to give away a month's free trial subscription for Drumeo. You can give it a try, see what you think. Basically, we are here every day, Monday to Friday, guys. We do lessons on random topics. You can see a schedule of what all we do, and we're live. Like we have, right now, we have tons of people chatting with us who are already involved with Drumeo, and it's awesome. We get to their questions. It's really interactive. On the Mondays lessons, which we do for free, we just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of what we do, show you guys some of the drummers that we have, like Kyle, for example. And have a good time, playing some cool beats and fills. Today is on moving around the kit. So actually, there's a couple things I want to say before we go on.
Absolutely, I'm curious.
You're curious? I talk a lot in the beginning of the lessons, but I got a couple things to cover. For all you guys here that are not part of Drumeo, you're on the free stream of it. You can chat with us by signing into Facebook right by the chat or right by the video there, and I encourage you to do that. And what we're going to do is, for the giveaways, I'm going to pick random people who post on the Drumeo Facebook page. So go to facebook.com/Drumeo and like that page, please. And what we're going to do is throughout the lesson, I'm going to be just doing some random, maybe I'll just do random posts if you guys want to post something. Or here's a great one. Post something that you'd like to see, a lesson that you'd like to see on Drumeo. Maybe post what's your one topic that you would really like to see a lesson on Drumeo. Post that on Facebook, on the Drumeo page, and what I'll do is I'll select a random one and we'll do some giveaways.
That's a great idea.
Cool. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, yes.
I don't know.
So we've had a storm out here, and throughout the day, the power's been on and off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of worried that the power's going to go out. So we got a backup generator here. We're ready to go. So if we do shut down all of a sudden randomly, do not leave. Give us a couple minutes and we'll be right back up. But it's like a crazy windstorm out there.
It's crazy out there. And, it's funny, kind of ironic, this is an acoustic instrument and we'd be shut down by power failure. But
I know.
It's because of new technology, man. We're going places. And to go places, you got to have power.
I know. It's crazy. But when the power was out, everybody else had nothing to do. I was down here practicing drums because they didn't need any power.
Exactly. What happens at a nightclub when the power goes out? Drum solo.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every time. Okay, cool. So that being said, that was a mouthful. Why don't you start?
Hi.
Start explaining how to move around the kit.
Well, I think first I'm going to start by introducing myself, because my name is Kyle, and I'm a drummer. I would just like to talk about sort of this whole lesson's based on sort of things I've learned over the years, and I think there's some things with styles and setups that can change all the time. We look back to guys in the 70s and 80s. You're playing much bigger drums. These days we're usually playing smaller drums because we're using more microphones and everything's a little bit more controllable, and we're doing a lot more stuff with that. But because of that, we can place the drum kit a lot more conveniently to our needs. The drum set's a pretty new instrument. It's only been around maybe 100 years or so.
Okay. Yeah.
As a complete pile of stuff, if you will. So something I think that's really important, especially, and this is something you can take as a beginner, as an intermediate, even as a pro. I know I'm still constantly changing little things here and there, is how to set up your drum set. Because that is the very first place you need to start. Because if you set it up wrong, it's going to create bad habits, and there's a lot of things you're not going to quite figure out. You go, gee, I'm working on my single strokes, but I can't seem to get around the drum set. Every time I try, I'm doing this. You're wasting a lot of energy. There's one thing you can't cheat, and that is gravity. Gravity will always win. Yeah. It's you have to respect it. It's the law. Look into it. It's science, guys. Really. But seriously, I sound like Michael J. Fox for a second there. Sorry about that. seriously, the way you place everything is really important. And something that's really unique about a drum kit, you may or may not know this, is that everything has an adjustment for a reason. You look at like a guitar, well, everyone's got different sized hands, but there's a pretty finite amount of space there that you need to cover. Different guitar necks and things make a difference. Drum kit, you've got hi-hat stands that'll go from probably, super low to, this one will go up to here,
Wow.
I'm like 5'8.5". Other instructors are probably over 6 feet. There's a good chance their reach and their setup's gonna be a lot different than mine. And there's the thing about setting up your kit to look cool, which is great, which doesn't necessarily work best for performance. Sometimes when they shoot videos, even something like this, a guy might like his cymbals a little bit higher because he's more comfortable with that. They have to set them lower though, so that they're in, not covering up his face or that sort of thing. Actually, one thing I like to take a big cue from is a lot of the new gospel guys. They set up really ergonomically, meaning, of course, comfortably to the body, right? You've got bass drum pedals that can adjust a million different directions. You've got hi-hat stands, all the tom mounts these days. You can mount your drum sideways if you want to, which is great, I guess. But the whole purpose of all those adjustments is so everything is where it needs to be. Well, how do you know where it needs to be? Well, okay. First, we're going to start with our feet. If you look at the overhead shot.
Yeah, over at camera. Yeah.
Oh, there's the feet. Oh, whoa, jeez. Okay, good. Camera 2, great. Okay, so here we have the bass drum pedal on this side, of course, and we have the hi-hat pedal on this side. Now, the best way I can explain this, I'll borrow this from a great drummer named Billy Ward, who talks about having chicken at someone's house. So going over for dinner, right? When you sit down, you put your feet down, just naturally. You don't put your feet down like this, really skewed. You don't put them down like this, I can show you with my hands too if you want on the overhead. So yeah, so like you position your feet, you probably plunk them down just like that, right? You wouldn't go like this, you wouldn't go like this. A lot of times I see young guys playing, their hi-hats, the hi-hat stand is like super close to them, right? The problem with that is really simple. It's your balance. If you've got your hi-hat stand super tight to you and your bass drum's farther away, unless your legs are 6 inches different in length, which I doubt they are, what you're going to have is a huge balance problem. If you take your feet off the pedals, you're going to fall over this way or this way. So first thing you're doing is you're fighting your body because your center of gravity is not over the throne, you're not balanced. So you're already struggling to hold yourself up. If anybody's ever played on a stage that's uneven, you'll know that feeling because you actually feel like you're constantly leaning one direction or the other.
Yep.
So, for me, I've got really small feet. I have tiny, tiny feet. I wear like a 7.5, 8. I've got really small feet.
That's probably the smallest feet of the drumming.
I know, isn't that crazy? And, make your jokes as you will. It is what it is. But I'll tell you, I save a lot of money on shoes.
Do you?
On shoes. Yeah, no, anyways.
Where's the rim shot for that?
Yeah. We'll spare that being the obvious thing with a drum kit. I like to place my pedals so that the balls of my feet are kind of right in the middle of the board. I spent years sitting too close to my drum set. Didn't even know it. It seemed really comfortable to me at the time. In fact, one of my shoes used to have a chain groove in it.
No way.
From my feet being so far forward. And I couldn't understand me playing like 4 hours a night. I played a lot of nightclub gigs where I was playing 6 nights a week. And my foot would be so tired by the end of the night. I'd be playing funk and rock and stuff. And I'm like, man, my foot's killing me. And I look down, there's a chain gouge like this big in the shoe. Because I've been riding the pedals so high.
So don't do that.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Because you're not taking advantage of the leverage of the pedal. Right, a little farther back, let's see right there, yeah. Make sure the hi-hat stand too. A little farther back's good. I like to have it so that my knees are kind of both in the same position. I actually like my hi-hat pedal, my bass drum pedal, the same amount of throw, so how I adjust my hi-hat stand. It's comfortable for me. Some guys like it really shallow on their hi-hat, so there's very little throw in the cymbals. I like them about the same. My hi-hat does tend to be a little bit closer to me than the bass drum pedal. That's because of where the middle of the pedal board falls conversely to the bass drum pedal for me. So, but it keeps me square. If you look where my body's positioned right now, I'm kind of going forward across the drum set. I'm not sort of turned this way or this way. You'll see some guys on their kit will sort of play this way, which is great if you're playing these 3 pieces, right? When it comes to getting over here, it's like, you got to write a letter to the floor tom to make it do something because you got to go all the way over here. Your body goes... And you're going to go back to this, and you're actually kind of pointing that way, which, you probably want to face forward. You see some guys who have a bass drum off-center a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, kind of like what they call like an offset double bass setup where they've got the drum way over and the 2 toms in the middle. That puts the snare drum right in the middle, right? So that makes a big difference, okay? So we got the kick drum, we got the hi-hat placed. Now we need to look at the snare drum. Well, why are we focusing on these 3 things? Almost, I don't know, what do you say, 75% of what we do is involved in these 3 pieces. You know, ride cymbal being the next most important thing.
Sure. Yeah.
You want to place everything based on those things because that's where you spend your most time. This is home, right? So snare drum. Where do we put the snare drum? Again, depending on your height and your size, that's gonna differ. Because I'm kind of short and I have stubby arms, I have sometimes a hard time putting the snare drum exactly where I want it. I'm not gonna get too deep into technique and stuff here, but really simply put, you want the drum so that it falls naturally at your hand. The easiest way to know where that is a 90-degree bend in your arm here. You don't want it too far down. Here, use this arm. Thank you. Like that's bad. That would be bad. For a long time, I played with my snare drum super flat, almost pointing inward, kind of like Keith Carlock, which works great because he sits pretty high. Mm-hmm. But what I found I was doing is I was craning my hand up sort of like that. So I was sort of hitting the drum and kind of adjusting like this as I came down for rim shots, which is not good.
So just to kind of reiterate kind of what you're kind of talking about here, you're spending quite a bit of time just on basic kit setup. And we haven't even started talking because, I mean, there are exercises to this. Mm-hmm. You got a couple of exercises just on basically moving around the kit, but for the most part, there's a huge part of it of just making sure you're comfortable, I guess, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the exercises will be so much easier if you set this stuff up properly. If you don't, it's going to be like running the gauntlet all day long. Exactly. Which is great for gymnastics, I suppose, or an aerobic workout, but if you want to get better.
So a quick question then is how long would you take to, like, of working on your kit setup? Like, how long would you spend setting up your kit before you sat back down on it? Because I know a lot of you guys, drummers out there, you probably have your kit set up that you think is the way it's most comfortable for you, but especially after some of the tips that you've been talking about right now, it might be worth you guys just going and checking your setups and seeing how far your pedals are away, especially the snare settings that you were just talking about. So how long would you spend to work on this? You know,
it's a work in progress, I think. There's a lot of things that will also help you figure out if you're doing it right or wrong. A big one is drum heads don't lie. Drum heads will show the wear and tear you're putting on the head and how those marks are being placed. If you look at a drum that's hit properly or correctly, the marks are there's no swipe marks. It looks like a relatively concentrated patch. If it's hit incorrectly, you see a lot of slash lines, and tom heads a lot of times because there's less tension on these heads. They dent really easy.
Yeah,
that's two things. You're either hitting it on an angle or you're hitting it. You're not hitting it flush. So what's happening is you're kind of abrading the head instead of hitting it straight on. That changes the sound, changes the feel, and it changes the rebound, which is the most important thing. The drum has to throw back to you.
That's a really good tip that you just gave there. So if you're seeing a lot of slash marks on your skins, that's a good sign that your kit's not set up.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, good tip.
So with the snare drum, again, just 90-degree angles, relatively comfortable. You're letting gravity do all the work. So when you hit the drum, I'm just gonna switch back just so you can hear this. Nice natural flow, really easy. I'll do that one more time, other hand. There's no tension in my body, nothing's moving weird out of that. It's just going straight up and down.
I noticed your hand wasn't also hitting your leg.
No, that's a big one.
My hand used to always hit my leg when I played the snare drum, and I had to adjust it.
Here, let me give an example here. I'm going to play a little bit, and this is something I see out of my students, and it drives me bonkers. But you may recognize this, guys. You probably want to go to the overhead for this. Okay, I'm exaggerating, yes. But a lot of times guys will turn their hands in because they're trying to get to the drum and the drum's really low and they're trying to get at it. The problem is you can't get out of that to go around the drum set. That's a really difficult position to be in. And you'll notice I was burying the stick into the drum head because there's really nowhere for it to go. That's a really common one, and it doesn't help you at all. It's going to make it much harder for you to improve past that. Another quick thing I'm going to mention, I talked about the feet, obviously, is the seat height. There's a trend nowadays with guys sitting a lot higher. There's actually a lot of advantage to sitting relatively high. There's a point, though, where it's too high. And when you're sitting too high, the easy way to tell that is your back. Your back will tell you, because you're not sitting straight up and down. The one thing, I have terrible posture most of the time, except when I play drums. For some reason, I got that figured out. You want to be nice and comfortable, balanced. If you're sitting up too high and kind of hunching over like this, it looks cool, but it's difficult to control. And it will wear you out over time. If you're playing, a lot, if you're playing, really demanding music, it's going to take its toll on your body. So you want to be careful with that. So that's kind of the basic idea. The rest of it, the toms are placed. Once I place these three things, everything else gets adjusted from there. I actually sit higher now than I used to. I'm probably up about 2 inches from where I used to be. I used to sit really low because Vinny Colaiuta is my favorite drummer, and Vinny, in the old days, he used to chop his throne down. So he was almost sitting on the ground, and his drum kit sort of went up like this.
Yeah, that's way too low.
It was cool, but man, your knees, you feel it.
Too low for me,
Oh boy, you feel it.
Especially play double bass, you'll be kicking yourself.
It's true, and you look like a praying mantis, which I guess is kind of neat, but it doesn't take long.
Can I pause you for 2 seconds?
You can.
I'm going to give something away here.
Sure.
Because I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, oh man, time's going by pretty quickly here. So I just want to say, if you guys haven't already, like Drumeo's Facebook page, and go on there and post what lesson you'd like to see. What are your most, I guess, desired lessons that Drumeo Live could do for you guys. And I'm going to randomly pick one here. I've got tons of them already.
Pick number 50. It's the 50th lesson.
50. Oh, I can't count to 50 live.
You should have a cake or something. What do you do for 50 lessons? I don't know.
And you can't just post, I want a shirt, Stephen Bishop. I think I've already given you a shirt. So, good try. But anyway, let me just pick one here. This one here is from... Okay, here we go. Rob Matthews. I improved multiple bounce roll by adjusting the snare. Oh, that's not it, what we were asking for. Rob Matthews. Whatever. You get a shirt. Email me. That was actually a kind of a tip, or I guess a comment to what you're saying. He improved his multiple bounce roll by adjusting the snare height and angle.
Absolutely.
And throw height, just like that.
Absolutely.
So Rob Matthews, thank you very much. Here's your shirt. Come grab it. Actually, email me, dave@drumeo.com. I will send you one free of charge. You don't have to pay anything, no shipping, nothing. You get a free shirt. I'll do one more shirt here. This one, I'm going to choose someone who's answered the question. Let's see here. Maybe I should read it before.
What was the question?
What do you want to see? What kind of...
Oh, that was... sorry. I have a short attention span.
You're a drummer.
Oh, sorry. I have a short attention span.
Oh, what? Okay, here we go. All right. This one's going to be... Okay. David McNamara?
McNamara? I can't see it. I don't know.
McNamara. David, you have won another shirt.
McNamara.
So, he said, how about a lesson on brushes?
Oh, yeah.
That is a good idea, and we actually have brush lessons coming up in about a month. There you go. Email me, Dave. Did I just hit the camera?
I think you hit Dave.
Dave at Drumeo.com, sorry. And a lot of these lesson ideas you guys have talking about, double pedal technique, let's see, rock, salsa. We have all these lessons actually coming up already in the members section. Yeah. We have, like I said, 5 lessons a week, and they're similar to this. And we actually have a chat going right now with people involved with the Drumeo lessons, and they're asking questions too. We have a bunch of questions to get to, so let's fire through these so we can get to some of these questions.
Lovely.
Okay, and we also have sheet music too. If you guys, even the free members, can download the sheet music for it. Under the video, you can go to Get Lesson Resources and download the drum notation key, as well as the live lesson resources, which for this lesson has MP3s with it as well.
It does?
It does.
Oh, that's right, it does. I checked that out.
I exported all your exercises here, which I gave in 3 different tempos. One of them is super fast.
Yes, it is.
Like, good luck.
I listened to that and I was like, yeah, it's cool.
When I was exporting it, I was looking at the tempo. I'm like, yeah, I'll put that down for the advanced drummer.
Shoot for the stars,
Shoot for the stars, right? That way you have always something to work on. But there's MP3s, so you can kind of put those on your iPod, and when you're practicing along with them, you can just loop them, and you have the sheet music, you have the exercise on video with Kyle teaching it, and you have the MP3. Couldn't get easier than that. And we do that basically for every lesson we do 5 days a week.
Short of me coming over and doing it for you, it doesn't get any simpler than that.
That's true. Mm-hmm. And if you still don't get it, you can always harass them on the chat or email, and you will get responses.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So let's go through some of these exercises, or
Lovely.
You had some more...
I think I pretty much... that the concept is simple, that once we get past that, setting up everything else ergonomically and comfortably will come to play. Before I go to that, though, our good man Victor has a couple of photographs I want to put up. If you want to throw one of those photos up, please. These are a couple of shots of some really unique setups. This is a guy named Donnie Wynn who used to play with Brooks and Dunn. If you look at the kit, you notice there's 2 rack toms on one side, 2 on the other. Hi-hats are in the middle. He's never crossing his hands when he's playing that way.
Interesting.
He plays fills, he goes across. He never has to cross his hands. Really clever idea. Not for everybody, but it is a really neat way of playing. And I'll tell you guys something really, really cool. If you experiment with stuff like this, it totally changes the way you play, because it gives you whole new ideas.
Yeah.
You're not looking at your kit the same way. If you want to throw the next one up, please.
That guy's got leather coveralls.
Those are leather coveralls. When you play country, it's an accessory that you can't get.
Gotta look the part.
Oh,
where's another picture got? That was quick.
No, there it is. Okay, now this kit's really interesting. I like this setup. You'll notice the kick drum is actually not centered. It's way over to the side. What this does is allows, you guys know when you're setting up your drum kit, the kick drum can get in the way a lot of times for exact placement. Yep. We've gone to shallower toms these days, so everyone gets stuff really low and tight. This guy has moved his kick drum all the way over to the right and uses a double pedal to trigger the kick drum.
Yeah.
By doing that, it puts his toms like right in front of him. He has it like a little. If you guys have ever seen like a marching set of drums, they're just right in front of him. Everything is super close. Hi-hat and ride cymbal are really convenient places. Really easy to play.
But is he using a slave pedal for
yeah,
this?
he is. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say because that's a long way to stretch your leg.
Yeah. The next question there, of course, is can you play double pedal with that? And I would say probably not.
Probably not.
But a setup like that's really ergonomic. Awesome if you have mobility issues like arthritis or something like that. It would really help you move forward for sure.
Good point.
Thank you, Victor.
Cool. So let's get to some of these exercises. Exercise 1 looks pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Now, you're hitting, there's 3. If you guys, there's also the notation key. If you don't know what any of those X's mean on there, you download that just in case you wanted to follow along with us here. But you're hitting cymbals, you're hitting, is that a china there? Just random like bells and stuff?
Yeah. This is notated. I'll quickly explain the easiest way to look at this. This is notated in one of a million ways we could have done it. This is sort of the most basic way. This exercise I'm going to play right now, the idea of this is to improve your mobility around the drum kit, since that's our topic today. But what it's going to do is sort of make you think about how to reach each of your instruments, cymbals, cowbell, whatever you've got in your kit at home, to get to it and be used to getting to it in a timely fashion. So what I've got written here is sort of a setup, assuming you had 2 cymbals. You can do this with whatever setup you've got. If you've got 3 pieces, great. If you've got 100, exercises can take a little longer, but you'll get through it. Okay, so the first example is right hand only. This is taking it around the drum kit. I have it notated as 16th notes. It can be anything you want, but I'll count it as 16th notes for this example. I would hope most of you know what those 16th notes are. Should I give a quick... No, we're good?
Yeah,
okay,
we're good. Yeah.
Here we go. Example 1, right hand only. Okay, so that's just going around the drum set with one hand. I'm doing the same thing with the left hand. I'll give it a little faster, see here. I went for the gold and I missed!
Yeah, exactly. Now you'll notice that there's only 3 cymbals. You got, well, you got your hi-hats on there. It goes, actually on the sheet music, you go snare, hi-hat, tom.
Yes, it does.
But I guess right now you're just, the whole idea is just to move around, right?
Yeah. The first couple times you do this, you want to kind of go in a sensible pattern. I'm kind of going drums, then cymbals. That kind of makes sense. Now, when you vary the pattern, you can kind of go, you kind of want to pick random pieces because you want to go from here to here to here to here. And I'll tell you, that's going to be a really key way of knowing if your kit's set up well or not, because if you can't get to it quickly, you might need to look at moving some stuff around. This is actually kind of, it can be easier on a big kit because there's so much stuff in such a small space. Yeah. You can actually get to it a little faster. In a kit like this, it's a little tricky, obviously, if I'm going from hi-hats to that china, but so be it. So here it is. I'm going to do it now. Let's see.
Single strokes?
So single strokes, sure. I'm going to give you a little bit more of a random pattern too. So here we go. So you can see how that goes, you know, kind of random. And part of that process is thinking about where you're going to go. Obviously, I wouldn't play a fill going, you know, here, 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 like a cat, you know, kind of bad beat stuff. You're going to have a little more sensibility to that. The point of this is, though, is mobility, getting around the drum kit. Okay, let's go ahead to double strokes. Same idea, pass them around the drum set. You can also divide them up into 2s. Instead of going 4 notes per piece, you can go 2 and 2. I'll do 4 first, and then I'll split it to 2s. Here we go.
So for me, when I do these kind of exercises, I'm not thinking musically.
No.
All I'm thinking about is exercising, moving, and for me, I mean, I'm not the fittest guy here, so moving down to these floor toms sometimes can be a bit of a pain.
Yes.
And same with moving up to all the different cymbals and stuff.
Exactly.
Right? So it's all about getting your arms moving around the kit. Also, like you said too, is training your mind to know if you want to hit the bell of your ride. Where's the bell of the ride? You should know, right?
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's the truth. These are designed as exercises to practice to improve something else. It's like weightlifting. You know, you do weightlifting to improve your muscles. It doesn't happen overnight. Like, you can't lift. You know, a guy says, "Okay, lift 100 pounds."
Yeah.
50 reps. You go, "Oh, I'll just lift 5,000 pounds once." It's the same thing. No, it's not. Nothing replaces time and focus put onto what you're going to practice. So the whole point of this is to get around the drum set. It's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of goofy too. You know, it's sort of like, whoa, you know, what am I doing with this?
But it's some important exercises, though.
It is. It's one of those things, you'll practice it for a while and you go, "Oh, cool." And then you'll go for something and it'll happen, though previously you couldn't get it. Like, whoa, what was that? Man, I got it to work. That's great. Okay, so now we're going to move to triplets. The reason I wrote it as triplets is because this is one that gets overlooked a lot, especially guys that play rock a lot of times. If they've never studied jazz, a lot of times they're afraid to study jazz and they're, you know, a little confused by it. Not to say that jazz is confusing, because it's not. It's just a different feel, different pulse. Triplets are really, really important. You know, if you're into John Bonham, man, it's all about the triplets.
Totally.
So here's the same examples in triplet form. It changes your phrasing too. So we'll do it first. You know what? I'm going to do single strokes. I think you guys are probably getting the concept. So I'm just. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Let's skip ahead to single strokes in triplet form. Here we go. You know when your brain and your hands don't talk to each other? Something I forgot to mention here too. The reason this one's harder is because your sticking changes every time it goes around. Right, left, left.
Yeah.
And my brain went, right?
Yeah.
My natural instinct there is, of course, to change the sticking. Of course, in this case, I don't want to do that, so. Now we go on to combination sticking, just right, left, right. This one tends to be a little bit more one-hand oriented. You tend to move the one hand more than the other. You can move the other hand around just for experimentation and stuff, but this starts to kind of open up what you can do with the ideas too. Okay, so here is, we'll do right, left in triplets.
Just lets them ring.
Man, look at that. There we go.
I have a question from Toolboxes. Does it have to be clockwise or just randomly?
Random. It can be clockwise. My natural tendencies, again, with kits particularly set up and how I've set it up today, I'm kind of, you always kind of gravitate towards what's in front of you. If you really want to get crazy with it, you can kind of literally think about the most opposite points. So, you know, just quickly this. Try some more. You'll notice I'm struggling to do that because my brain's going, where next?
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole point of this.
And when you get to the part where you have no problem going super fast around the kit, when you're in a position where you need to improvise solo or you want to try something that comes to you like in an instant, you can do it.
It just comes to you.
You're just training those kind of things.
Yeah.
One quick question here. This one's from Fitzel King. Wants to know, the first two exercises, are they more of a warm-up?
Yeah, they can be for sure. This whole thing is designed, like I say, like an exercise. So it's not like this is going to be solo idea number 12 in your bag of ideas or your fill ideas. The whole idea of this is to just get your mobility moving. Think of this like a warm-up, or you know, you're adding mobility to your exercise routine or your warm-up routine, or your if you do like a rudiment thing when you warm up, starting rudiments, because you can do that probably on a practice pad or on the snare drum. When you sit down behind the kit, think of this as a rudiment. Right? Okay, I'm going to take this around today. And this can apply to paradiddles, whatever you want. You just want to kind of pick zones and go to them.
Yeah.
Right? Just kind of experiment with it. And, you know.
If you don't have the kit.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was when I had no kit, or I only had one practice pad, I would set up like little pillows or something like that.
Absolutely.
So just something to kind of move yourself around, right?
Yeah, this is a physical exercise in that sense. You want to go to, you know, places, right? You want to move stuff around.
Yeah.
And the thing you'll notice too is when you do this and you get better at it, your aim gets better, first of all. If your kit's ergonomic, it gets better faster. But you'll notice that your stroke is getting better on the drum set. You're hitting things more accurately, because that's the point. You know, a lot of times you'll see guys play, and there's that moment when they play a fill, and it looks like they just, you know, solved a math equation in their head, because they're like, "Wah!" You know, it's because the brain and the hands aren't negotiating quite what's going to happen next. And that's what this does. Is it's sort of like a stress test for your system, going, okay, we'll do this. And once you get it done, it's like, everything's easy now. So
awesome.
Okay.
Okay, before we go on to the next two, because the next two are in my opinion, actually the next three, I guess you can say, are the real challenges. But before we move on to that, I just wanted to give away a pair of sticks.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I've given away something. Also, I just wanted to say this one was from Daniel Jones. He says, "Is it wrong that I left early to catch this lesson?" No, it's not wrong. Leave early. Bring your iPad to school.
Unless
do
you were
whatever
in
can irresponsibly.
surgery, it's fine.
Unless you're getting surgery, it's fine.
Yeah.
And even then, see if you can get half dazed out so you can still
Yeah,
look at the
get
screen.
part of whatever you've done. Whatever
And
you need to get
just
done.
numb my bottom half so I can
That's
still
right,
watch.
whatever it may be.
Don't take that advice, guys.
No
I'm not
judgments.
I'm not a doctor. Okay, let me just give away some sticks. This one's going to be going out to a random Facebook poster. Guys, log on to facebook.com/Drumeo. Like our page, please, and post on here something that you would like to see, a lesson that you would like to see on Drumeo.com live. I've got tons of them already. Let's see. This one's for a pair of sticks. These ones are 707s. They're almost like a 5A, I guess.
Yeah.
Simon Phillips.
Yeah.
Simon Phillips.
I'm actually using them today myself.
How do you like them?
I love them. Actually, these are, I hate to say, 20 years ago when I started playing drums, these are my first sticks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Does that date you?
Probably.
No, it doesn't. Simon Phillips is awesome. He's been around for a while, so nobody knows. Anything new for drummers? Let me see. First person I'm going to add or I'm going to pick here. Let's see here. Andres Chica. I love the lesson on how to maintain endurance, resistance, and keep on time. Actually, we have a lesson on speed building coming up and endurance training. It's not a Monday lesson, so if you're not a part of Drumeo, you might not make it, but we'll consider something like that for another Monday lesson coming up. You get a free pair of sticks. Yay. Email me, dave@drumeo.com. I'm not going to throw these at the camera because I know I'll
Remember what happened last time?
Yes, don't talk about that.
Don't do that again.
There you go. Okay, and I have a practice pad to give away, but I'll do that later. Cool. And I still have a membership, a month's membership to give away too. Cool.
I want to burn through these next examples, not super quick, but I want to get onto one other thing before we're done. What time are we at there?
We're at 4:30, and we got like a ton of questions.
Okay.
Just we have questions that come in throughout the lesson, guys, from our subscribers, and we try to get through all of them, obviously. But on Monday's lessons, it's really tough because we have so much stuff to do. So
I feel so popular. I'm very happy right now.
By the way, people are loving you.
Excellent.
They're saying you're really good in drummer, or you're a really good in drummer instructor. Really good instructor.
I can't brain
either right now.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, so incorporating your feet. So now this actually now crosses over from being just a hand exercise or a warm-up technique, you call it what you will. This now becomes an independence exercise because you're now involving the other limbs as sort of in-betweens. So what we've got written now, we'll look at number 3, is we have it written where the kick drum is doing every extra note. There's no extra notes in drums; they all count. Every other note. So if you speak the 16th notes, it's the E's and Ahs. If you don't, it's the offbeats. It's supposed to be called that.
Sure.
So same thing. I'm going to move around the drum kit with the kick drum in between, with the cherry on top. Here we go. There you go. And you can do the same thing on the left hand, of course. It's the same thing. The next example, this one's tricky. Probably if you play double pedal or have 2 bass drums, sonically this one sounds the same as this previous example, but of course it feels different because you're using your left foot. I actually I'm one of those guys, I'm terribly old school. I've actually owned double pedals in my life and I never use them. Mainly because the music and styles I play, I never have a need for it. I've practiced them a little bit. I am horrible on double pedals. Sean Lang is my new mentor. I will hang out with Sean on that all day long.
He's an instructor here, guys.
Yeah, check him out, please, because he's
amazing double bass.
Wow, that's all I can say. But anyways, back to me, of course. Hi-hat control is really important, and it's something that gets overlooked all the time. I was listening to Sam Hurd, one of the other instructors, talking the other day, and he was talking about how he started as a bebop head and a jazz guy. That's where I came from, too. I learned a lot more hi-hat technique than I ever did bass drum technique at first, and so it translates a little bit easier to me than some people it does, especially for independence. So this is a great example of how to start using your hi-hat for other stuff, rather than just like... you want to start incorporating that in your playing and your fills and everything. So we'll do number 4. What the heck? I'll do it left-handed and left-footed, and hopefully I'll make a safe landing. Here we go. And that's another thing I just thought of. To make these more interesting, I shouldn't say thought of, I forgot to put in here. You can do 1 note per instrument as you go.
So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
Exactly. You can do 2s, you can do whatever you like. But yeah, the hardest one is to do singles, of course, because that's 1 note per instrument wherever you got it. So yeah, that's what that one does. And we'll quickly go on to the last one, number 5. Again, stickings can be whatever you want. The most common choices here would be right hand only, left hand only, and then of course alternating your hands. If you do number 5, alternating hands and feet, it actually works out to right hand, right foot, left hand, left foot. So you're like da do ba do da do ba do, which is really cool. You guys may have noticed this when you're practicing and just starting to play. There's a funny thing about the way our system works, our body works. The way your brain separates your hands and your feet. A lot of times they like to work crossways rather than together. Like, what I mean by that is your left hand and your right foot tend to work better together, and your left hand and left foot, right hand and left foot, right, correct. Right hand, left foot work together better too. So when you start doing opposites of that, which seems strange, you'd think that your right side and your left side would work together. It doesn't seem to work that way. At least it doesn't for me, and a lot of my students have had like, geez, this is hard to do. Yeah. Especially when you start incorporating like 16th notes into your bass drum fill or bass drum grooves and stuff like that. So this exercise is a great way to sort of balance everything out, and this is a great one for determining if your kit's set up well, because you're moving your hands and feet one at a time. So if your hi-hat's in the right place, you're not kind of leaning forward or backward. And as you go through the kit, you really are moving everything all at once and in rapid succession. So you have to kind of pay attention to your positioning. So here we go. I cheated at the end there. I did 2 rights in a row. I admit it. I admit it fully. But you know what? That's a tricky exercise to do. It is. Very tricky. Yep. Even like if you guys wanted to do that same thing on double bass too, it's a great, if you can get that really fast, it's a great way to start building speed around those kind of fill ideas and stuff. But I was gonna say again, like I said before, this isn't all about being musical right now. And as I was listening to that, I could think, that some parts sounded really cool, and then I'm like, well, they don't need to sound cool. No, that's right. This is not about sounding cool. This is about just building those muscles up in the mind. Genius that you are. You just gave me a great idea. Ooh. I'm going to give an example of a fill that I ripped off of Vinny. Okay. That actually uses number 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a groove and I'll play a bar of the fill. The bar will be... just trying to think of what it is. Triplets. Okay. Doing number 3. So it's orchestrated in triplets. 16th note triplets, I think. Really basic, actually. I'll just do it with the right hand and right foot as it's written there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I'll do 3 bars of a beat and then the fill, and you'll see how even this can be a drum fill. Nice. Not much to it, but it's cool. It's all sitting really fast. And then 16 note triplets. Yeah. You can play it however you like. I could do it, kind of like that random cat concept, but you're typically going to phrase things differently than that. Do you want to do some questions now? Yeah, let's do some questions. We got tons of questions. By the way, awesome lesson so far. Thank you. Great stuff. Before I even get into the questions, hey, I've got an eco pad I'm going to give away. What is an eco pad? Feel it. I do know what these are. These are really cool because these are made of recycled rubber. You're right. Yeah. Zero carbon footprint, folks. Zero. In fact, you're helping because you're actually helping. That's true. You're playing drums, which is helping, of course, and you're saving the environment, which is even better.
2 and 1. Let's see. I want another great topic or lesson that you would like to see on Drumeo.com. I'm going to open up here. I got to refresh because it's been so many. Here we are. All right. Let's see. Who do we got here? Okay. So many to choose from.
It's getting heavy.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Let's see.
Because it's well made. It's good and solid.
Okay, here we go. Robert Ward, you win. Robert Ward, you win a practice pad. You say this is great. It provides incentive and encouragement to keep on practicing. Also, would like to see some swing and big band lessons with accents that were so popular.
Oh yeah.
Kyle's your man for that.
Big band.
You're the big band guy.
Dude. Yeah.
This is why I'm so excited about Drumeo is we have lessons instructors that are just like absolutely amazing in so many different skill levels, or what am I trying to say, styles of music. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you actually have a pretty wide range that you go through.
Yeah, I actually I played big band mostly for the first probably 6 years of my playing. Yeah, I got to play with the Stan Kenton Ensemble at Berkeley, and that was really cool.
No kidding.
I have to say, I've played in rock bands. That big band was probably the loudest band I've ever played in.
Yeah?
All the guys in that band were pros. It was absolutely phenomenal and terrifying all at the same time.
Man, I'm very jealous.
Who's the winner again?
This was Robert Ward.
Congratulations, Rob Ward.
Yes.
It's a wonderful practice pad.
I think we've spoken, actually, if I remember. Anyway, give me an email, dave@drumeo.com. You know it. I've said it many times. I'm going to throw this one here. Ooh, good to go.
We'll get you a clean one.
But yeah, so big band lessons. You know, we have a couple jazz lessons booked. If you look at the schedule, and I'm gonna get you in some big band lessons now that I think about it. Get you doing some cool play.
Well, I'll try and get the band in here. That'll be tricky, but
yeah. We can fit them all in here. Sure. Yeah, we'll make it work. And but yeah, you're great for that. Like Sean, like you were talking about, he's an incredible double bass drummer. He's doing some lessons on advanced double beats that honestly, when I was doing the notation for, I didn't even know how he thought of those. He's doing 30-second note triplets. Like, are you serious? But anyway, coming out for it anyway, it'll be...
saying that's difficult, let alone playing it. I don't even...
No kidding. It's gonna be a great lesson. Let's get some questions here. Okay, there we go. Adele Bourgeois says, on the internet, there are tons of sites for sheet music on guitars. Why aren't there any for sheet music for drummers? I can't find any notation for my favorite songs. Now, you also do a lot of cover band stuff, so you do a lot of notation stuff. Mm-hmm. Have you ever found websites that have a lot of notation like that?
You know what? They are less prevalent now, it seems. There was a real boom, I guess probably 5-6 years ago, for what they call drum tab.
Yeah.
Which is a text, meaning... not notation, done by keyboard, like using like dashes and X's and stuff.
Circles and X's and all that.
Which was kind of neat. It was really, I think it was well intended, but the problem is drum notation, though standardized, isn't always the same. That's part of the problem, and also to do what they call drum tab, which is still kind of reading music. It was not accurate. First of all, it's people doing it that weren't quite able to transcribe them properly, and secondly, you didn't have the proper way to understand how to read the tune, or there's lots of mistakes because they couldn't actually notate a lot of things. I had students bring me stuff, and if it was really easy, like say, well, I shouldn't say easy, nothing's easy if you're a beginner, but like a Green Day song, which is pretty straightforward in the sense it's probably 8th notes, 16th notes. There's not a lot of 30-second note triplets, though some. But impossible to notate in that style because it would just look like a mess.
Yeah.
So there's that. And plus, to be honest, one of my other jobs, I work in a music store, and I do see a lot of all the books and everything that's out there. What I've noticed is it comes down to volume, not audio volume, numbers volume. Guitar players, there's a lot more guitar players than there are drummers, so ergo, there's way more guitar books. There's way more resources for guitar players. And
there's not a lot of drummers that even want to care to learn how to read sheet music. I get that quite a bit. That's why Cope's method. Cope's doesn't even learn, doesn't even teach sheet music at all. And you can learn how to play drums with that. But that's a very popular pack. So there's a lot of people that don't want to learn that.
Yeah, fret not. You don't have to read music to play. I mean,
it does help though.
Yeah, it is, and she's right. I mean, it is. I would say cumbersome to find stuff. It's not easy. There's not much out there.
Cool. Let's burn through some more questions. We got a ton of them. Sorry guys if we don't get to all of them this time, but we will make sure we catch up. What kind of Evans head are we using on the snare and toms? On the toms, I believe they're G2 clears.
They are G2 clears.
What do you got on the snare there?
That's the other Evans, Remo. It's a Remo reverse dot controlled sound, which is a coded ambassador with, if you've ever seen the black dot heads, which is just another piece of mylar stuck to the head. The reason it looks gray, as you'll see here, is because it's a black dot underneath the head. Why underneath the head, you ask? I can tell you that. When you play brushes, the brushes don't get stuck in the lip from the
Good point. Yeah.
dot.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for.
I've seen that happen before. Andre Galveo says, please, I want a free t-shirt. Andre, go to Facebook. We have actually we've given all the way today.
He asked nicely.
But you did ask nicely. But go on the Facebook page and put it in. We still have some more stuff to give away. We give away stuff next week as well. He also says, by the way, thanks for the inputs on my video you and Mike McCalco did last week. On Drumeo, we also allow you guys to upload your videos of yourself playing drums and get people like me or Jared or Mike or you to do reviews on them, give your feedback. And it's almost like, basically like a one-on-one then, because you're really critiquing his playing posture and all that. And we did that with Andre. Andre, it was an awesome video. Thanks for submitting it, by the way. Beautiful stuff. Okay, here's a question here. This one's from Underdog91. Hey, this is my first lesson here with Drumeo. My name is Jose. I received this thought by my drum teacher, and he tells me the drums are very complicated to learn. Are the drums really that complicated? Kyle,
wow.
Are the drums that complicated?
I wonder what the teachers mean by that. You know, to answer that simply, I would say sometimes.
That's not simply.
No, I mean, some people gravitate towards it really easily. Some people don't. It's like anything else. That's a journey for you, man. If what really matters, I can't stress this enough, is that you enjoy doing it. Some folks can sit down behind a drum kit and just play it. Some people, it may take them months to get a beat or groove or understand something. They're both just as important. And you know what? It's your journey. If it takes you a month and you dig it and you love it, do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You know, but the one thing I will say is you get out what you put in. No matter if you're really good at learning or really good at playing the drums and it's natural to you, or it's completely not natural. I've had students that were never going to be drummers, but they learned so much from music. You learn discipline, you learn control, you learn patience, you learn all kinds of things. You learn focus.
Yeah. And
you know, I had one of the best things I was ever told by this, and this is my advice to you. Music isn't just learning notes and phrasing and playing music. It's learning life skills through music. Because all those little things, those little challenges you experience when you're practicing and you're having a hard time doing something, well, you learn patience there. And you learn, you know, how to communicate with musicians through music. You know, there's a million things, and it's all good. So that's a long answer, but it's only hard if you don't put time in.
Cool. Bobby Davis asks or says, hey man, I do not have Facebook, but glad to be here. If you guys don't have Facebook, I think Jake Carroll, you're another one that doesn't have Facebook. That's okay. We'll figure something out because we do giveaways pretty much with Facebook, right? But there's not too many people that don't have Facebook, but we'll get on that. Dennis Zajac says, how are the people getting the toms so flat without having much height difference between them and the snare?
Good question.
Over the bass drum. And you know what, that bothered me. I have a Yamaha Maple Custom, and my old kit was a Yamaha Maple Custom. I could never, ever get the toms placed right. And that's because I was sitting too low. I wanted them even.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. And, you know, you'll see companies like Tama, Sonar, a few others now. A lot of the guys are on this short stack tom thing.
Yeah.
So that, first of all, makes it a lot easier to get stuff lower down. The thing is, when you see, a lot of times I'll see videos of these guys, it's usually a 4-piece kit, one up, one down. Two things I notice right away is the kick drum is usually a 22 or bigger, or sometimes they're 20, but typically they're bigger. They sit awfully high in most cases, and the rack tom tends to be far enough over the kick drum so they can get it super low. So, you know, there's pretty much a direct path to that rack tom from the snare drum. So by sitting up, you open up a lot more possibilities for your setup. It's a balance, though, because if you're not a super lanky person, it can be a challenge. I know for me, I don't think I could ever get comfortable like that. I've tried playing those kits, man. I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it was an issue with me for the longest time, and I even tried like moving my bass drum off to the side.
Yep.
I tried only doing like the one tom up and 2 toms down, like this setup is, and yeah, it took me a long time. But it's something that I struggled throughout, and it's just sitting up was the only thing that really helped.
And you compromise too. You know, you got to remember what is the most important thing to your playing style. If you're playing, say, you know, kind of a more of a rock pop, you know, or a punk thing where you're playing really fast singles, you know, when you're playing fast singles, you got to get around quickly because your hands are moving really fast. You know, you want that to be as straightforward as possible. So, you know, that's why a lot of guys do tend to sit up when they do that stuff.
Bat Spike says, hey Dave, good morning from Singapore. Crazy. One more time it is out there. I am new to drumming and have been learning tons from the Drumeo pack and loving it. Awesome. Good to know. My question is, how should I incorporate Drumeo Live into my practice routine? And I'll answer this one because I have tons of different students and members that give me different ideas. And one guy I was talking to today, I wonder if you're online today or not, but he says he has an iPad hooked up to his kit, or kind of hooked up to his kit, and it runs through his a soundboard that actually has his, I think it's electric kit, all running through there. So he has no problem being able to drum along with the lesson going on. I've had people have big screen TVs that hook it up through Apple TV type of deal. With an iPad, I've had people with laptops, iPhones, Android devices. There's so many ways you can do it. And then take the sheet music, learn from the lesson that we're doing, the video that we do, learn from it, get some ideas, ask some questions, get involved, take the sheet music and the MP3s if you can, and practice with them. Cool. Great ways of doing it, but there's many options and opportunities for you. Robert Ward, he just won the practice pad, actually.
He did too.
Says, I have trouble breaking into fill with more than 4 toms. Okay, I have 5, 3 mounted and 2 floor, wanting to use them all. As you add drums, you would begin... Sorry, kind of worded funny. Wanting to use them all as you add drums, you would begin your fills earlier. I think he's just saying, how do I use... Yeah, you
know what? You're actually brilliant, because I was just about to get to something based on this exact question. So, okay, let's talk about that quickly.
But yeah, be quick, because we only got like 9 minutes left.
I will be quick.
Okay.
I will talk way too fast. Okay. The next thing I'm going to quickly talk about is getting around the drum kit when you're playing. You're playing a fill, your voicing and your sticking makes a big difference. So if you've got 3 rack toms and 2 floor toms, you have everything under the sun available to you for ideas. If you want to play all your toms, yeah, starting the fill earlier is one thing. Also how you would phrase that fill. I'm going to play a fill right now. I'm going to use this tom and this tom like it was a 4-piece. I'm going to ignore the 16 for a second. So I'm going to voice it like I only had those drums. Cool, so that's a fill. So now I'm going to do the same kind of fill. I'm going to add the extra drum. Same time frame. So I changed my phrasing. I added the extra drum. I actually played the same fill, just adding the extra tom. That's a big thing. One thing I want to talk about based on that is the more drums you have and the more stuff you're trying to get around, the most common thing that happens, and this isn't something we notice as drummers. If you start playing with a band though, your bass player and maybe the guitar player will start getting angry about time. You have to keep time when you play your fills. Now there's a million resources through Drumeo that will explain a million other things about this, but the most important thing is when you play your fills, you have to play through them just like you're playing your groove. This locks down time. That fill has to be exactly the same. One thing you can do, especially when you're moving a lot, is you have to be ready for the next piece. That's the whole point of this lesson,
yeah.
Right? The whole thing, right? So when you're getting around the drum kit and you're moving, ba do 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 jaga, right? You need to make sure that you are on that when you get to the next downbeat, because that's not going to move. It's like a train. The band is a train and you're on that train. If you fall off the train, guess what? Train keeps going. You're gone. You can get back on, but you know, you got to get back on here. That's tough, right? So one thing I like to suggest to my students is breathe. You know, a lot of guys, some guys hold their breath when they play. You ever seen that? You ever done that?
I see almost pass out too.
Yep, absolutely. When you get stressed and you get, tense, it's, because you're not confident and you're not sure of a sticking, so you're like, right? That translates in your playing and it comes across. Just like when you're trying to be confident, if you're, I don't know, you're trying to get a job or something like that. It's like you come across nervous, you're going to be nervous, right?
Yeah.
You need to portray not being nervous. So when you're playing, you want to make sure that you're on that. So what I suggest is try breathing through the fill. Ba-da-do-da-da-da-da-da-do. Right? Because that way you're actually, your whole body motion's going towards that.
Just don't do a 16-bar fill.
That's true too, yeah. Then you can have to learn how to cover that. But the other thing quickly I'll say is something that also helps for some folks. Jerry Adolph does this, which you'll be seeing. He's a great teacher.
Yeah, he'll be in this week.
Amazing player. I spent half my life trying to figure out how he decides to do what he does when he plays. But the other half is sleeping. And I do it quite often, is I hum. Or I sing along, not singing along, like la la. No, it's like humming. And when I'm playing, like I'll give you an example here. I'm going to pretend I'm playing, and this is what you'll catch me doing a lot of times. If you had the me mic on. I'd be like,
Sure.
Right? Sounds silly, right?
Yeah.
But my brain is working with my hands completely in unison then because it's thinking the same thing I'm about to play. And guess what? Those fills sound exactly in time and in tune and everything because I'm involved in what's happening, especially when going from here to here, right?
Yeah.
Sticking changes makes a big difference too. For a lot of guys out there just starting, get to start using your left hand to play a crash cymbal as well as your right hand. I have students that go whash,
Yeah.
right? It takes half an hour to get from here to here.
Yeah.
Well, this hand isn't doing anything. Da 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 da. Right? Or change the sticking in the end. Two rights. Da 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 da.
Show us an example of that. That's a great,
Sure.
great tip.
Here is one way of doing it. Doable but tricky. Here's another way of doing it.
Much easier, and that's all what this lesson's about, is moving around the kit. So what did you do? You added a double there?
I changed that. Instead of right, left at the end, it was right, left, right, right. And then
Easy
crash
enough.
the left hand. I could have had my hand here for half a second before I needed to use it.
Totally. And then
And-
you're not sounding rushed, too.
No, and
Yeah.
another thing too is tempo will dictate what sticking works. You can use a really convoluted sticking for something if it's slow. Doesn't matter, right?
I got to cut you off, Kyle,
Okay.
because I know that could be a whole lesson on its own, but I've got like 10 other questions.
Okay,
Do you, or Osias211 says, do you use a metronome for this exercise? I guess you need 4 or 8 things to hit. And I just want to say something about these exercises. Now, when Kyle was doing them, he was kind of just improvising and all that. On the MP3s that I gave, I do have 60 notes on each one, 4 on the drums, 4 on the snare, 4 on the toms, hi-hats, whatever. I would recommend putting on a metronome just so
Absolutely.
you don't kind of go all over the map. But I'd also recommend doing both ways. Practice the way Kyle was doing it originally with like just improvising, but also kind of keep some structure to it, just so you have first off a roadmap too. So if you're a beginner, you don't want to go to the 2 same toms all the time. At least gives you an idea of going all around. And second off, I would say make sure you're practicing these. What was the second thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, sorry. With these symbols here, if you don't have all the symbols, just use the same symbol.
Yeah.
You don't have to have all the different symbols that we have.
Doesn't
here.
matter how big your kit is. You can, there's always going to be a tricky transformation from like a ride and a hi-hat or from the 2 toms, whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Cool. Let's give away a month's free membership
Wow,
to Drumeo.
cool.
This is going to be sweet, you guys. I don't know if you guys are here, if everybody's been here the whole time, but we do this kind of stuff every single day, 5 days a week at different times. We have a full schedule out for the next 3 months. You can see the lessons you want to hit, beginner, intermediate, advanced, all different styles. Different instructors. Last week you saw Jared on here. You've seen a lot of Jared, I'm sure. So we're gonna try and get some other drummers in here as well, like Kyle. Like
Whole lot of Jared.
I think next week we have. I don't want to say who it is and then not be that. So so I won't. But I think it's Callum Reese actually.
Cool.
But we have a whole bunch of different drummers on there, so it's an awesome resource to be a part of. We have an awesome community of drummers in there already. So let me pick a random one from the Drumeo Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/Drumeo, like us, and then post what you would like to see in a Drumeo lesson, what topic. I'm going to choose somebody right now, and as soon as my page loads, here we go. And you can't just say like, oh, pick me. You can't just say membership would be great, which I've seen a couple on here.
True, but still not really very creative, folks.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to choose one that's very recently.
Here's a drum roll.
I got it. Here we go. Ryan Bell. Ryan Bell.
Ryan Bell.
You have just won a free month of Drumeo. Email me, dave@drumeo.com. He says, these lessons are great. How about a lesson on ghost notes and crazy hi-hat grooves broken? And you know what's cool about that is not this week, but the next week. The whole week is dedicated to ghost notes, dynamics, and accents on making your groove sound that much better. And another thing I was going to say is how do we choose our lesson topics? Well, we have a community of drummers like you guys who are posting in the forums saying, look, can we do a lesson on this? Can we do a lesson on this? Also, I try to keep the weeks kind of theme-based, right? And this lesson...
Like Shark Week.
Yeah, like Shark Week.
Cool.
This one's on Moving Around the Drums Week. No, but this is on just beginner practice pad exercises, warm-ups, getting used to moving around the kit, and that's exactly what this lesson's about. Tomorrow's lesson is on basic practice pad warm-ups. Then Jerry Adolph's in on Wednesday.
Nice.
He's going to do his method, intermediate way of doing drum kit warm-ups.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's going to be cool. And I've got all the sheet music for it already. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, Ryan Bell, congratulations on winning. Email me, and... as for the rest of the questions, guys, it's 5 o'clock already. I just want to say that I
Feels
definitely...
like only an hour ago it was 4 o'clock.
I know. I told you, time flies.
Does fly.
I just want to say that to all of our Drumeo members who never got their question answered, I deeply am sorry. We will definitely get to them. That's what Friday lessons are for. They're more like question and answer type of thing. You just
I don't have to stay late and do them all myself?
Yeah, you do.
Ah,
I
great.
forgot to tell you that.
I'm very excited about that.
But it's only because money lessons are so busy. We have a ton of other people that are watching for free, so we just want to make sure we get to the content and all that. But thank you guys so much for coming out. Kyle?
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was an awesome lesson. People loved you out there. You did. It's like the lesson exercises were great.
Excellent.
I'll see you guys all tomorrow. And for those who are on here for free, I'll see you guys next Monday.
And I'll be back eventually, hopefully.
You're back next week, actually.
Yeah, is it next week? It is next week.
And I think it's a Friday lesson, actually.
I think you're right.
So you will be here for a long time answering questions. All the
Yes.
questions that you guys had for this one, come out next Friday because
Yes.
Kyle will be here. And you're a plethora of information, man.
I have way too much information in my head. I would love to share it.
Yes. You do a good job of it, too.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'll see you guys all next week. And for you Drumeo members, I'll see you tomorrow.